going on, guys? This is Red Line here, and I know it's been a while. It's been a while since I uploaded to the channel. You know, been a lot going on, and I know it's been a minute since I actually uploaded a Destiny 2 build video. Well, I got you guys one today, and it's a Warlock. And since the Edge of Fate, you know, they've added gear sets and armor 2.0 and all that. And this build here kind of gives me opportunity to make a build around kinetic damage. It's not 100% kinetic damage, but the kinetic damage is the basis of the build anyway. So yeah, let me show you guys what I came up with, and probably show you some gameplay afterwards. So this is a Chromatic Fire build. So I know there's not many Chromatic Fire builds out there. Some are pretty, simple, pretty straightforward. This build here, though, is great. It's gonna be is just a great overall crowd control build itself. So for Chromatic Fire, it says precision final blows from kinetic weapons create an explosion in the element of your equipped super and apply a matching elemental effect. So if you have an arc super, you're gonna blind targets. Solar super, you're gonna scorch targets. Void super, you're gonna weaken targets. Stasis, you're gonna slow targets, and strand, you're gonna sever targets. So each time you get a headshot, it's gonna create an explosion. It's gonna have one of these effects depending on what super you got. And what we're gonna pair up with is Outbreak Perfected. So Outbreak Perfected says the corruption spreads. That's an intrinsic trait. This will create Siva nanite swarms on rapid hits and precision kills. And then you have Parasitism. This weapon does more damage to enemies based on the number of Siva nanites that attach to them. Then, of course, with the Catalyst, it says an increased nanite damage. Enemies that die with nanites attached to them generate additional nanites. So, pretty much, as you get rapid hits, you're gonna create these Siva nanites, and also on headshot kills, you're gonna produce Siva nanites. So, and they just gonna explode. They're gonna transfer to other targets nearby, and pretty much is gonna do like damage over time, and also increase your damage done with this Outbreak Perfected. So we're using this build with Prismatic. So with Chromatic Fire, I chose to use the Void Super, which when you get headshot, is gonna weaken targets. It's gonna have a explosion. It's gonna weaken targets. That's why I'm using the Nova Bomb. Now, if you want, you can also use Song of Flame, which of course is gonna, if you get a headshot kill, it's gonna spread Scorch. And the other one I would probably recommend is Storm Trance. When you get a headshot, you're gonna blind enemies. So all of these is gonna pretty much like debuff the enemies in some sort of way or fashion. That's gonna like help with your survivability pretty much. So I'm using Weaver's Call and Feed the Void. However, if you don't want to use Weaver Call, I would recommend that you use Bleak Watcher. But of course, if you use Bleak Watcher, it's going to take away one of your fragment slots. But either way works. Actually, Bleak Watcher is probably better for the build, but I actually wanted the extra fragment slot, so I use Weaver's Call instead. So Weaver's Call recently got a buff that says activate your class ability to weave 3 threadlings and deploy any threadlings you have perched. And it says targets defeated by strand damage have a chance to generate perched threadlings. So they haven't changed the wording on this, but the buff is targets defeated by any damage has a chance to generate a perched threadling. So any damage you have or any kills you get, period, like no matter what it is, whether it's a grenade, whatever, it's gonna create a perched threadling. So the of course, and I'm using Feed the Void for the survivability and that additional grenade health. Grenade energy. So the fragments I'm using is Facet of Dominance, Facet of Dawn, Facet of Solitude, faster to purpose, which is also going to help grant me overshield anytime I pick up an overpower because I'm using the void super, and then I'm using faster to devolution. Faster to devotion. Defeating targets afflicted with stasis strand debuffs grant bonus light energy. So of course we're gonna be using Sever and Arcane Needle. So that's the fragment and aspect setup we have. So outside of the outbreak perfected, we're also going to using secondary as an aberrant action. Now the aberrant action I have, it has pugilist and enhanced incandescent on it. So if you see, my melee stat is pretty low, so this is going to help get my melee back up as I get kills with this aberrant action. Now, also as a if you don't want to use the aberrant action, or if you're having trouble with survivability, you can also use the Lotus Eater, which on this Lotus Eater I have repulsor brace and destabilizer rounds. So if you have a Lotus Eater with repulsor brace and destabilizer round, that's perfectly fine. Like I said, that'll help you with survivability and crowd control. And this one, if you like I say, if you care about your melee stat, it's gonna help, proc radiant and whatnot. Then you'll still have this aberrant action, which also can be crafted with pugilist and incandescent. Use whatever heavy you want. I'm actually using this wavering duty that I got from Trials. It has the Envious Assassin and Burning Ambition, which is a new perk this season. It says dealing sustained damage scorches the target. Dealing damage to a scorched target inflicts scorch. So pretty much you can just lay on the trigger with this and you can scorch the target. The more you lay on the trigger, they're gonna start igniting. So if you can think of it like a machine gun version of Dragon's Breath. When you shoot the rocket with Dragon's Breath, they're gonna be continuously proccing flames, and then all of a sudden they're gonna end up igniting. So this is kind of how this is. You're gonna end up scorching them, and then the longer you keep going, they're gonna start igniting. So for the set that's kind of putting this together is I'm using a 4-piece tech set. A 4-piece tech set. So with the armor bonuses you get with the tech set, you get a 2-piece wrecker. It says you deal significantly increased kinetic damage to combatant shields, overshields, vehicles, and constructs. Constructs include barricades, turrets, stasis crystals, and other objects created in the field. The 4-piece is the main thing. Concussive rounds. Defeating powerful combatants or breaking a combatant shield with kinetic damage releases a disorienting kinetic shockwave. So let me show you guys an example. So we're gonna use Cabal, and we're gonna use so it says defeating powerful combatants or taking away or shooting a shield is gonna create a disorienting blast. So powerful combatant is anybody that's orange on bars or up. So red bars will not count unless they have shields. But if the red bars don't have shields, you're not gonna get the explosion. So as you can see, you saw the white flash. That's the disorienting, and it's a pretty good radius as well. As you can see, the targets are blinded. You see the targets are blinded, and let's see if I can get him a bit closer. You see, it's also weakened. See that? Everybody just scatters. See how big the explosion is, and then you got the nanites from the headshots. See how big those explosions are? So you weaken them, blinding, and you have nanites. See, he's weakened. Also, the nanites themselves can actually cause the disorienting blast as well. So let me show you Another example. Oh wait, wrong one. Okay, so now you see these wizards, these taken wizards. They all have shields on them. So see, it's blinded. Once the shield came off, I didn't have to kill him. But of course, you know, and it doesn't matter what color the shield is, as long as you just destroy it with a kinetic weapon, then you're fine. So let me let's see. Let me try to get these enemies together. So this is what I like to do. I just get them, show my face, because they eventually they're gonna end up moving and getting close to each other. Let's sit there and wait for a minute. Shoot again. Now you see how close they are. This is what I do. Try to gather them up. So when I shoot this, when I shoot the shields off, all these enemies is gonna be like blinded. So let me finish them off. See how that works? So this is what the tech set, the 4-piece tech set does. You have to have all 4 pieces. So, yeah, that's how this works. Also, another recommendation that I actually want to do, which I may update this build, as this is like one version of it, but I don't have the microcosm. So to feed into the kinetic damage thing, you know, the whole kinetic damage theme of the build, you could rock I would rock microcosm down here and then have a kinetic weapon with kinetic tremors on it also. So that also is something else that you guys could consider. I just been too lazy to get microcosm, but I will end up getting it pretty soon. And when I do, I'll probably update this build. And hopefully I get some other higher tier pieces, but if not, it'll be fine. But like I said, you could rock microcosm down here and then a kinetic weapon with kinetic tremors on it. So yeah, that's also another route you guys could go. So yeah. All right, so as far as the gear pieces, right now I'm up to like tier 2 pieces right now. As I get higher and higher in the tiers, like for the set that I'm using, this build is just gonna get better because it's, you know, the tiers is just gonna keep increasing my stats and whatnot. So for the helmet, I'm using a tech set hood grenader. I'm using tech set gloves grenader. Of course, I got a chromatic fire, and then I'm using tech set boots gunner, and I'm using tech set bond specialist. I'm using I have 100 in weapons to help with make sure I reach that 15% damage against majors and minors. Then I have 72 in class, and then I have 70 in super, and then 98 in grenade. So the mods that I'm using, I have weapons, kinetic siphon, special ammo finder, and harmonic siphon. Which, I mean, this is for like when I had the Lotus Eater. But I mean, you can switch this out for something else, or even take this down to like, yeah. That's right. If you can take this down to 1 and then just put whatever element you're using in that second slot. But I'm just keep this here because I switch between both the Aberrant Action and the Lotus Eater. But I'm gonna keep that there. For my gloves, I have a class mod with firepower, momentum transfer, and bolstering detonation. And then on my chromatic fire, I have weapons. This is also a weapon. You know, I mean, this is a gear piece that I had before Edge of Fate. So it's gonna come with the extra abilities. I mean the extra stat slot, which I put a class there, and then I have, you know, you got your resistance mods here. And then on my feet, I have weapons, and then I have 2 kinetic weapon surges, and then I have recuperation. So, oh, side note, I did some testing to whether I should use 2 weapon font mods or if I use kinetic weapon surges. So the kinetic weapon surges actually has me do more damage than having 2 weapon font mods. So that's why I'm not using the font mods to reach 150 or whatnot. So I'm using kinetic weapon surges here, and then like I said, recuperation. And then on my class, I have class mod, time dilation, Reaper, and I have bomber. So as far as the artifact mods, I'll prefer Radiant Shrapnel, dealing sustained weapon damage while radiant or defeating a scorched combatant with a weapon causes the target to release solar projectiles that deal damage and scorch on impact. Shield Crush. While you have Woven Mail, Frost Armor, Void Shield, Overshield, your melee recharges faster and deal increased damage. While you are Amplified or Radiant, your grenade recharges faster and deals increased damage. Now, since you have the ability to become Radiant and you can collect Orbs of Power to have that Overshield, this is going to come in handy. And then you have Cauterized Darkness, Stasis, or Strand debuff. Non-boss combatants take increased solar damage from all sources. So with me using an aberrant action, you know, this will come in handy right here. So these 3, and you can use Elemental Coalescence. You don't have to, but mainly these 3 are the required mods in my opinion. Plus, I'm also using a solar heavy. If you're not using any solar weapons with this, then Cauterizing Darkness doesn't really matter, but you'll be missing out on some extra damage. But yeah, these are the main 3 that you want to use. Now, you can also use Fever and Chill. Rapid precision hits with solar weapons grant Radiant. Rapid precision hits with stasis weapons grant Frost Armor. This one is not required because, like I said, you can switch out your secondary and your heavy if you want. Mine's have both of these happen to be solar, so they're gonna benefit from this. But if you don't want to use solar, like if you want to use you know, something else in those slots, then you know you don't have to worry about this. But this is also another avenue of Radiant. So one thing I like about Radiant Shrapnel, right? Radial Shrapnel, is that it goes perfectly well with this Wavering Duty and the Burning Ambition. So say dealing sustained damage scorches the target, dealing damage to a source target, inflict scorch. Like I said before, it's gonna scorch targets, and then as you keep shooting, it's gonna end up starting ignition. Well, Radiant Shrapnel, as long as you're landing headshots, you're gonna be causing those solar orbs to come out. So one thing I like to do when it comes to big bosses is that, like, after I use my super, I would then throw my melee, become Radiant, and start headshotting. So you start to see those shrapnels come out, and then he's also, see that? And see, it's so much easier. It's really easy to cause those ignitions as well, because I also have envious assassin. So as I'm getting kills throughout the mission, you know, I'm just pretty much overflowing my magazine. So it's just easy to just land on the trigger. So yeah, so I think that's pretty much it that I want to say about the build. I think probably the number one tip that I would say, yeah, the number one tip that you want, that you need to have for this build really is to make sure that you have Devour proc. If you have Devour proc, then you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be perfectly fine, man. That's really the main thing. If you as long as you got Devour proc, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So yeah, man, I guess I'm gonna show you guys some gameplay, and I will check back in afterwards.
The impact of echoes on the world fueled the scramble to fill a power vacuum. Now everyone's fighting to consolidate its territory. We've replaced a universal threat with a bunch of local ones.
Believe it or not, that's good news. I'd rather fight a series of battles than a whole damn war.
enemies. It used to make me thirsty for combat.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed the gameplay and you enjoyed the video. I've always wanted to make a kinetic build, and this is like kind of like the best one I've come up with. I do want to make one with the necrotic grips and the osteostriga, because the poison itself is also kinetic damage, and I've tried it. I've tried to make one before, but I couldn't really come up with anything that was like I've tried different setups, and I couldn't come up with anything that was like kind of like strong or whatever. But I'm gonna keep thinking, keep trying, and I may come up with a poison build based off of this kinetic set. That also, because the poison will also, if it kills or if the poison destroys the shield, will also cause that disorienting blast. So I may come up with something with that. But yeah, I'm gonna keep trying. But yeah, man, this also give you guys some ideas as far as like kinetic damage on the Titan or the Hunter. Not sure about the Hunter, but I know the Titan has the chest piece that has the missiles when you use the class ability, and I know those missiles are also considered kinetic damage. So that's something else that another idea that you guys could probably come up with. But yeah, man, I guess with that being said, red line out. Also, speaking of Titan, I'm also coming up with gonna be my first Titan build on the channel. Bungie did make some changes to some exotics, and I'm able to make a build that I've always wanted to make because of it. So look forward to that. I will be having that coming out pretty soon, my first Titan build. But yeah, man, I guess with that being said, red line out.